I think this is going to be good, God willing. Oh my word. So here I am interviewing Emmanuel from Body Code, incredible practitioner. What a diamond of a man. We did a live today. I don't know if you saw. It was extraordinary. We live showed a session of him working on me, and for any of you interested in having a happy life, it was certainly worth seeing. What a beautiful, beautiful man. So I've got some challenges here, so please bear with me. One is we're doing it on this way, which means I'm going to be looking at comments on my phone. And the other way is to get him on the camera. And I haven't done this for a while because I've been using BeLive, which is just an incredible platform. It's just, for whatever reason, we're doing it this way this time. So welcome. If you haven't seen today's live with Emmanuel, please do yourself a service to see that in action. Not only that, what an incredible gem of a man who is seeing veterans for free to help them. So I'm going to interview him about his beautiful work that he's doing. He's also doing a campaign across June, which I'll get him to tell you about. What a heart of gold, a real magician at work, using the body code. And again, I want him to tell you because obviously it's his field and his area of expertise. It's about trapped emotions. And, you know, listen, if we know each other, then you know I've been in the field of psychology, psychotherapy, coaching since literally being in the womb. My mother's a therapist, both parents were therapists. So I'm always looking to learn, how do we have a better life? How do we get well, really, really well? And I came across Emmanuel's work recently and just went, oh my good Lord alive, he's a magician. So we had a session and we did it live for you guys to see and to share the process, to see it in action. So as soon as I can see him, I'll attempt to get him on live. But this is something I think, I mean, particularly magic and miracles this time for so many people in terms of breakthrough. So I'd listen in and please ask questions. Use him, use me, use us to support you with anything. Again, you worry about you just do you, basically. Everything's welcome here. He's a true a humanitarian to the core, as am I, as we know. Let's get together and work some stuff out. If you've got things that are challenging you, particularly physiological sort of sensations or conditions or issues or heart walls, again, he'll be talking about it because it's his field. Use us whilst we're here. Incredible man. I'm just delighted to be on the planet at the same time as him. The challenge, of course, is just to work with the technology because it is what it is. So I'm looking for him to see where is he to make this happen. And of course, because we're on portrait mode, I'm going to be looking at my phone for your comments. So it's not that I'm being rude, I'm actually incredibly present, but it's happening this way because it is. So, can anybody see him is the question. Where is he? Emmanuel, what a powerhouse man. And happy summer solstice, my word, everybody, regardless as to anything else, whether you stay with us or not for this live. This is a phenomenal time. It can only get better, folks, particularly if we're looking at our part and asking for help and reaching out and getting out of our own way and that usual stuff that we do where we, we're in ego and worried about what people think and all that stuff. If we get out of our own way and we reach out to say to people, I'd love to get to know you more, or I'd love to meet up with you, or I'd love you to coach me, or opportunity, reach out. This is the time to do it because it's profound. Magic and miracles are happening for so many people as a consequence of making the first move, growing a pair, basically, getting out of our own way. And then it's there. We just need to do our part, and it's beautiful. I'm so excited for all of us. So many incredible things happening. Are you feeling it? Put a 2 in the box if you're feeling it, that, yeah, stuff's happening. Big time stuff's happening at the moment for us. And again, what a wonderful thing to get together with Emmanuel, put our forces together to be with you. So why can't I see this beautiful man? What's going on? Is he here? Are you here, my lovely? Two. Fantastic. So have a think for yourself. If you want to stay with us, obviously you're so welcome to just be here and say nothing. I would recommend that you engage if you want to and ask questions. What is there going on for you at the moment that you might want to ask either of us? But equally, once I can find him, we'll get him to talk about who he is, what he does, what exactly it is. Put a 5 in the box if you were on this afternoon and you saw the session that he and I did live together, Body Code. That would be interesting to just see who's seen it, and it's something wonderful you can go back to, obviously. Now, of course, the challenge I have is in not seeing him. I can't call him either because I'm now using my phone to do this. So what do we do here? Let's get a sense of who was on anyway. I was just watching it. 5, saw the replay. Beautiful. What an incredible guy. Really, really. I would so recommend reaching out to him. If you're looking for a breakthrough, if you're looking for some good work, go watch him, because essentially we're showcasing his work in that video today. But where is he? Oh my word. Life happens for us, right? So let's see, what is this about? How funny. So whilst we're working this out, just have a think. In an ideal world, what would you like? Maybe you could put some declarations in the feed. This is the time. Summer solstice, the 21st of June. Oh my God. Incredible things are happening. We go watch who, please. It's the live from today was just beautiful. In fact, I've just posted the link there to his page if you want to check him out afterwards or during. Incredible guy. So what do we do? Because I can't see him. Let's have some declarations. What is it that you would like to cause and create? What would you like to bring into your life? If we get out of our own way, and it doesn't happen to people like me, and life is hard, and if I try I'll fail, and I'm not worthy, and all that stuff. If we just put that aside for a moment, what would you like? This is a magical time. Put a 6 in the box as well. If you've done the 2-cup challenge across this last couple of days, and if you haven't, please do. It's on pretty much everything that I've been doing recently, today and yesterday, for you to find it, to do this little ritual. It just involves drinking water and thinking good thoughts, basically. And oh wow, welcome to just beautiful everything wonderfulness. I would recommend that you do it. So why can't I see him? What's this about now? What do we vote to do here? I can obviously chat for England and America. But I'm wondering, what do we do to get him on? What thoughts do we have about this one? No drama with mom lies. Boundaries set. Beautiful. Well done, my love. Yes. So if you don't know me, by the way, my name is Poppy Sprague. I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist, coach. Ooh, yay! Here he is. Phenomenal. How wonderful. Enjoy him. He's a beauty of a person. What an incredible person. So gifted to have him with us. It says adding. This is wonderful. So what is it you would like to cause and create? If we have an open heart. Hello!
Hey.
Hey, fantastic.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Word. I can hear you beautifully. Welcome. So I was just saying, because we're on this way of doing it, I'm going to be looking at my phone just because I'm looking at comments that way. I know people are going to have questions for you. Thank you for today.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure doing the heart wall, and actually just letting you know, it was the first time I did it live with a bunch of people watching, so had to do with Poppy, you know, so.
So why don't we start from the beginning, just in the event that people don't know anything about the emotion code, body code, heart wall. Could you say a little bit about who you are and what it is? And I'll share the video while you're talking, and then we can get to it.
Sure. Thanks again for inviting me. I really appreciate everyone who's watching this. Obviously knows that, you know, Poppy brings lots of value to this world, and so I want to make sure I match up and add values to someone today that they can, you know, learn something. So first of all, I'm out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have a practice called Coding Alternative, which we specialize in the emotion code and the body code. And the emotion code was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson. I actually became excited about this because I was in a state of malaise back in July 2015. So I don't know if anyone's ever felt, being sick and tired of being sick and tired, but that's kind of where I was back in July, 2015. And Amazon, because of its wonderful algorithm, recommended a book called, The Emotion Code. And I was just looking for a self-development book. Wasn't really looking into an energy healing book. And what's interesting is that's just the way the universe works. Is sometimes, just a random book shows up and you read it, it could change your life. And what's interesting is that, I came up from a background of two oncologists and hematologists. So you guys might be already skeptical about energy healing. The most skeptical person has to be me, just because, like I said, I've grew up with two very heady oncologists that grew up, they did the Universal, or what is it, UCLA medical school, top of the class, everything like that. What I did notice is that my mother was more open to holistic medicine, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, Reiki healing, and things like that. And for some reason, the patients got better quicker and they stayed better. So I think that's why I was more open to this type of work. And so, yeah, I was just kind of like, again, not at the right job. I was not in the best situation in relationship, not in a good place in financially. And just, just the right book comes in, and then I started looking into it and I said, this has got to be the answer. This is what's holding me back. So
what is it? What is the emotion code? What is the heart wall? But let's assume, just for the record, that people haven't seen anything or seen the session that we did today.
Sure.
What is it and why? Why do you do it? What do people get from it?
Yeah, so the emotion code is an energy healing modality. Like I said, similar to Reiki healing. Maybe you guys are more familiar with that. Theta healing, and what's different is that I really believe that it's a very complete system. The complete system is called the Body Code 2.0, and it really covers all areas, like in regards to the body, toxicities, spiritual issues, energy issues, chakras. I mean, it's just a very, very complete system. Has over 200 hyperlinks of like what the subconscious is telling us and what in regards to imbalances in the body. So just to kind of give you a background of where it came from. So Dr. Bradley Nelson, he was the doctor that created it. And his book came out almost now 11 years ago. What's exciting right now is that it's getting republished by one of the top 3 biggest publishers in the world. And it's going to come with like scientific data, back up like clinical trials and testimonials, and hopefully yours truly will be one of the testimonials inside the book. And what's interesting is that Dr. Brad was just a chiropractor for 20 years. He had his brick and mortar business, and he started having patients that had these incurable diseases. That's kind of where it all started. And he started wondering, like, how can I help out my patients? And so he started asking for some help, asking some help from above. And he got the answer, sort of the promptings, that he should go back into old cultures where they believe that your organs are these frequency generators. And so obviously Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds of our time, said that if you want to know the secrets of the universe, you got to look into, you got to look at everything as like, frequency, vibrations, and energy. And so now we know we can measure a thought, and a thought has a frequency. Even organs are now scientifically proven that there's frequencies, and every organ is very different. And so what's interesting is that our organs are creating these emotions. There's about 60 emotions these organs can produce. And, typically you feel these energies going through your body. And so I thought it was all up in the mind, but it's actually like these energies are going through the body. They're getting processed through, and that's what you're feeling. But the sad part is that if you have an overcharged emotion like deep sadness, deep anger, deep frustration, these energies can get stuck in the body. Like I said, they're the size of a tennis ball in cantaloupe. They can get lodged near the organ that created it, or near a weak link in the body. So for example, liver is anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, resentment. That's why when people drink alcohol, or they have a fatty liver, or they drink a lot of caffeine, what comes out pretty quickly is anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred, resentment. And so another great proof is, if you guys, I know Poppy and I probably are big fans of Christopher Reeve. I think he was the most handsome Superman. Okay, so, but anyway, a lot of people don't know that, he became a lot of people do know that he became a paraplegic, but most people don't know that his wife died of lung cancer. And Dr. Brad talks about it, how the Western medical society has no idea why she died of lung cancer. For example, she has no history of lung cancer in her family, and she never smoked a cigarette, so she's a very healthy person, just like Christopher Reeve. So why lung cancer? So if you look in the emotion code chart, there's about 60 emotions in different columns, and each one is kind of like has a certain organ that's, you know, that it would typically lodge near. And for grief, grief is around the lung area. So the question is it possible that Christopher Reeve Weiss started a grieving process while she saw her husband became a paraplegic, and obviously she didn't marry a paraplegic, so the grieving process got started. These trapped emotions, they got attracted to her lung, and then they can create disease, then can create cancer. And that's why she died of cancer very quickly. So Dr. Brad has that theory. It makes perfect sense in the emotion code world why she died of lung cancer. And he really believes that 90%, a very high percentage of most diseases and symptoms we deal with are emotionally caused. And so so the problem with trapped emotions are three things. Number one is it can irritate the tissues of your body over time. Some of you guys might know someone who has rheumatoid arthritis or fibromyalgia. Trapped emotions, like he's had great success with removing these trapped emotions, and that pain actually goes down, while most doctors are like, here, take a pill and just mask the problem. Number two is it can create multiple body symptoms and multiple emotional symptoms, so PTSD, depression, anxiety, phobias, different things like that, but also like different body malfunctions, you know, as well. And the last thing is it also makes you very reactive. So for example, if you felt an emotion of sadness very deeply because your mom yelled at you when you were 6 years old, that energy can get stuck in your body, and it's easy for you to feel sadness over and over and over again. The average human has between 300 to 400 trapped emotions in the body, and little by little they're causing disruptions in the body, whether it's emotional or physical. And so that's kind of an overview of the emotion code. And did you want me to talk about the heart wall too, or am I talking too much here? Or
No, this is amazing. Amazing. I feel I'm in the presence of we're just so wealthy for you. So please, yes, say
okay.
something. And again, let's assume people don't know, because this is so new, isn't it? I mean, there's only 300 practitioners, body code, emotion code practitioners globally.
Yeah, so there's actually about 4,000 practitioners in 60 countries, but there's only about 800, or no, I'm saying I think 900 body code and emotion code certified. So it's
Right.
still, you know, that's not a lot of people in the span of 10 years. It's not a lot. So it's still brand new. So when you walk up to someone and say, you know, do the emotion code, most people don't know what it is yet. But one of the things that really makes us different is that there's a lot of energy healing modalities that has to do with moving energies around or perhaps suppressing energies down. I really believe Tony Robbins is the master of suppressing sort of different things using NLP, for example. But I think what most people are looking for is like even suppression takes energy. You know, it's like you have to like consciously do something to put it down. But then if you don't do it, obviously you can act up. With the emotion code, it like literally releases the energy, so you don't have to suppress anything because the energy that made you reactive is actually gone. It's out of your body. You see, and so I think that's what people are looking for, is like your body to take care of itself, so you don't feel an emotion over and over again. And so one of the things that makes us stand out from all other energy healing modalities is we have the greatest discovery in energy healing. So if you have a pen with you, let's say like, you know, I'd rather trust a person with a short pencil than a long-term memory. So I would look into this thing called the heart wall. And there's some videos on it. I made a 15-minute video on YouTube. If you look up heart wall, you'll probably see me talking about it. But then there's also an hour-long version of it. I highly recommend it if you have time to watch Dr. Bradley Nelson talk about it himself.
Brilliant.
But the heart wall is the greatest discovery. Why? Because, well, first of all, let me tell you the quick story. I don't know, Poppy, have you heard the story of how it was discovered or no?
No, I
No,
don't
okay.
think so.
This is kind of neat. So the way it works with the discovery was that the wife had this very inspired dream, and Dr. Brad said that he felt like he
Which
was
is the
like
wife?
the wife. Yes, Jean. Yeah, Jean Nelson
Oh,
had
oh,
this.
oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
so Gene
Brilliant.
Nelson had this very, very inspired dream, and he was trying to sort of like translate it and find out like what did it all mean and everything like that. And what happened is after he was like looking into that, he went into his room or his office, and he started looking at the ground, and the floor started changing before him. And I mean, the only way he can put it is that it was like a vision. He was having a waking vision, and the floor started changing. It was this beautiful wooden floor, and there was like no marks on it. There was no type of like dents in it. It was like literally just pristine, this floor. He says he can't even describe it, and he puts a picture of it on his webinar, but he says this just doesn't do it justice. But then he started hearing this voice coming into his mind that said that your wife's heart is underneath this floor. So he ran back to his wife and he says, hey, I had this vision, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I have no idea what that means. And he says, let's muscle test this. So he asked her, he says, do you have a heart wall? And for the first time in history, the body actually said yes using applied kinesiology. And so he says, wow, your body knows what it is, even though you don't know what it is. So if I were to walk up
So
to anybody in the
so,
street,
so can you just pause on that one and explain that a little bit, just for people who don't know about muscle testing or
sure, perfect.
that
No, no,
word?
no. Feel free to interrupt me at any time. So muscle testing is something that's been around for a couple, like 50, 60, 70 years, long time. And basically a lot of doctors and chiropractors use it in order to find out, to ask yes or no questions to your body. And sometimes a lot of sort of natural holistic people use it to find out like what you're allergic to, or what you have intolerance to. And so if you see people at a vitamin store sort of swaying back and forth, they're asking their body, is this something beneficial for me or not? And their body leans forward if it is, and if it's not. One of the easy
Yeah.
ones that I like to use is your finger here. And if you kind of spin it around in a circle, like very softly, not too hard, and you say, like, for example, my name is Emmanuel, it should spin very smoothly. If you say my name is Bob, it kind of gets sticky. It doesn't move as quickly as it should. It's your body basically saying, that's not true. I know it's not true. And you can do it with your age,
Yeah.
things like that. And so Dr. Brad used that to see, like, do you have these things called trapped emotions? And the body would say yes. And be like, okay, can I release one? The body said yes. And so that's kind of like everything that was discovered was using muscle testing. And so
Yeah.
when you were to look, for example, if you had neck pain, Poppy, and I wanted to help you out, I would say, are there any trapped emotions causing your neck pain there? And I would be going through column A or column B. Is it even or is it odd? Is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 5? And I'm going through this kind of 60 grid chart, and your body is leading me to the emotion that's giving you neck tension, and then I'm releasing it using a magnet. So Dr. Brad uses a magnet. If Poppy was next to me, I'd be pushing down on her arm and asking her questions, and then I would use this on her governing meridian, which is basically I would use it on the below her, like her neck area, all the way down to her spine, and I would release the energy from her body. I would swipe it 3 times, and similar to like if you remove, for example, if you were to put this on a credit card, you probably don't want to do that, or a hotel card, because now the hotel card doesn't work. And so it kind of just shifts energies, and so we're shifting the energy out of the body, and and it comes out, and that's where she receives her healing. Now, if I was long distance, I would use it on myself, on my own governing meridian, and then that would release it from her because we're energetically connected together. So muscle testing is just a way to ask questions of the subconscious, and the subconscious knows a million times more than we know about our history and what we have going on inside of us. And so back to the story. So he asked, do you have a heart wall? And the body said yes. So he was pushing down on the arm, and he says, when did you get this? And so he started pushing down the arm again. Is it older than 15 years old? And the body said no. So he says, is it younger than 15, younger than 10, younger than 5? So it was around 2 years old. And then she confessed to him and said, you know what, that makes a lot of sense that I received trauma around that time because my father was a rageaholic, and he used to yell all the time to my mother, and I was around that presence all the time. So what is the heart wall? Dr. Brad found out that, how I told you guys that there's a ton of trapped emotions in the body. Your body's so intelligent, it has sort of a protection system against broken heart syndrome. And so the question is, the reality is that every single day someone in the world dies of a broken heart. And how do they do that? It's through emotional trauma, and then their heart has the tendons start stretching inside the heart. And then if it rips, the heart collapses and you die of BHS, or they call balloon heart or broken heart syndrome. And if you talk to any Mayo Clinic cardiologist, any doctor, they'll all tell you now in these interesting times where energy healing is becoming more prominent, they can say, you know what, actually it's emotional trauma that causes broken heart syndrome. I mean, you talk about that 60 years ago or 30 years ago, like you can't connect emotion and science. But now they're like being very blunt, saying emotional trauma. What kind of emotional trauma? Physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, a death in the family, stress at your job, moving, bullying. I mean, you name it, you're receiving this heart trauma. And what happens is, let's say your heart starts hurting because of some trauma happening, your body will take a scoop of a trapped emotion from inside your other parts of your body and place it over the heart. So for example, if you're feeling panic, it'll find a panic trapped emotion and place it over the heart. Now you have a panic wall in front of the heart. The good news is that the heart stops hurting. That's the good news. The bad news is now you have a wall that's in front of the heart. And then every time you keep adding to the wall, these 5 symptoms start getting worse. So let me tell you what these 5 symptoms are. And number one is low immune system and low energy. That's number one. Number two is lack of clarity of your mission in life. I really believe everyone has a mission in life. Number three is desensitized heart. I mean, how many of you guys felt like whenever you receive love or affection from people, sometimes you just tend to see it, you don't really
Doesn't
feel
go.
it, you know? And then number four is your love language can get twisted. Dr. Brad says it's like a beautiful butterfly coming out of your heart, but it has to go through trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And by the time it reaches someone, it's this strange looking bat. He actually even did that once, this strange looking bat. And so that they can get offended easily, and it causes a lot of contention between people. I think the biggest reason for divorce now is two heart walls coming together and them shooting love blanks at each other. That's what's happening. And then the fifth one is abundance and wealth. If for some reason you feel stuck financially, like there's a ceiling up there, it's because these other symptoms of low energy, lack of clarity of mission, you don't feel love, you know how to give love. And so the energy of wealth can't come to you. And so, and then this also, if you have a ton of walls too, can also lead to depression, anxiety, PTSD, and multiple emotional disorders. People who are suicidal too tend to have a ton of heart walls. And they might be young too. Let's say you find an 11-year-old who has suicidal tendencies, but you haven't even lived a life yet. Well, what was the mom going through during the trimester time? And, you know, what energies did he absorb through the fighting of the mother and father? There's so many reasons why that the heart was affected by the surroundings. And so they have a huge heart wall and they're still young. And so that's kind of a description of the heart wall. Do you have any questions about the heart wall at all? Or do you have any questions about what I've said so far? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, it's just beautiful. It's amazing, this stuff. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. What it reminds me of, because I only came across this more recent, the last few months, when I connected with you. The minute I found out, my friend sent me your video after I sent her one from Bradley, and I was like, I have to quick. So I think we spoke that day. The nearest that I've ever known to this, firstly, you know, essentially in my sort of brain, we're talking about dowsing. You know, for any of us that want to poo-poo this, we have water through dowsing with rods for water through intuition. So we can't deny it, because otherwise we wouldn't be here anyway, in my opinion.
Yep.
But the closest I had sort of got to this in terms of the psychology realm was pathological mourning. So when we talk about that in psychology, it is often when a child is born to parents in grief, for example, so that they're grieving the loss of something, and therefore, understandably, they can't be fully present to the vulnerability of the relationship new, because they're still in so much turmoil and pain and trauma and loss about the last one. So the little kid is there like, hello, I'm here, and mum or dad is grieving the loss of something else. So when I learned about, I was like, oh, well, that's going to be me, and like probably the general population and then some. And I'm guessing, I mean, would you say everybody has a heart wall of sorts?
Yeah, so Dr. Brady Nelson, through inspiration, has found out that he said that 93% of people have a heart wall. So it's like, you know, that's pretty much the majority. I mean, I've yet to meet a person where I worked on them and they don't have a heart wall. Most people do.
Really?
You know, yeah. So it's just like I said. I was when I worked with a young boy. What's beautiful about this work, I want to let you know, is that the first thing people usually think about is like, this has to be some type of placebo effect. There's no way that and that's a great way to. It's good to doubt, you know, and that's why I give complimentary sessions. You know, it's like I want to. They say that make sure the tongue in your mouth matches the one in your shoes. Well, what I do is I offer a free session. So then I go, hey, if I can lower your pain between 70 to 90%, pretty sure this is real now at this point, you see? And then if like a week passes by and they're like, my shoulder still feels amazing, then something is going on where your energies were creating pain in your body. And so I love when I work with someone brand new, I'm always looking for pain. If someone has TMJ, I'm always like, let's see if we can help it go from a 9 pain to like a 2. And if they see it go down and it stays down, obviously it becomes more real to them. And that's kind of where I start people off with. And so they can come with their doubts, but the reality is like, how far has their doubts got them in life? Not that far, you know? And so I love that saying by T. Harv Eker in Millionaire Mind. He says, you're either rich or you're right, but you can't be both, you know? And so, you know, a lot of people think they're right in so many different areas, But then if you look at what's really happening is they're broke in those areas, you know? And so I made a decision in my life that I want to be wrong more. Because if the more wrong I am, the richer I am, you know, because obviously if I knew everything, then I would have everything, you know, and I just
What a
don't,
beautiful thing to
you
say.
know, so. But
Incredible.
but yeah, so I guess the main thing I tell what's interesting about this to prove that it's not a placebic effect is I can work with children and I work through the mother. If they're under 18, the mother can give me permission. I can work via proxy through the mother, and I can and the child receives the positive results. I mean, it's amazing. Like if the child wakes up and doesn't, like I said, doesn't have food aversions anymore, or is sleeping better at night, or they can hold them longer than 20 seconds because before they couldn't, but now they can hold them for 25 minutes. Something happened between before meeting me and after meeting me that, and obviously the child was in a different room. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing is, I mean, I can work with animals like dogs and cats. They also have emotions. I mean, try to tell a dog owner that their dog doesn't have emotions. I mean, something instinctively inside of us says that our animals feel things. I mean, there's no way to look at it. Dr. Brad actually puts a ton of stories about horses that have these bladder issues. They're urinating too much, all these whatever, and it's because they saw a bird fall, like a bird's baby fall into the ground, and the egg cracked, and the horse actually felt sorrow for that and then started having bladder issues. As soon as we removed it, all of a sudden, normal horse. And like the horse, obviously, if there's anybody that's picky about or notices little small things about their horses, it's the horse owner. He probably knows every little meticulous thing about every single horse, and it's not going to bluff you or throw smoke up there if they didn't see a change. But they said, no, look, it's obviously not having those urination problems anymore and feels very calm around those other horses now. You see, so Dr. Brad started working with horses when he first started using the emotion code. After he worked with people, the first person he worked with or the first animal was horses. I've worked with a dog recently. It was really funny. I'll share this really quick story. I worked with this dog once, and this dog was limping around at this party, and everyone was watching the hockey game. And I just told the lady there. Now I believe in the emotion code, body code, because as soon as someone said, "Are you an emotion code practitioner?" Like, my son's been telling me about that, and then it became like a full-on, like 8 people wanted to work with me at that party. I couldn't even eat my dinner, and I couldn't watch the hockey game. So, but I sacrificed the dinner. The dinner's overrated, right? So anyway, but then it was interesting. Everyone was all done. I worked with everybody, and then I told the owner of the dog, I'm like, "Can I work with your dog? What happened to your dog?" And he says, "Oh, my dog's." And it was sad. This little Chihuahua was kind of limping around. It's kind of sad. Like, you guys aren't like, you don't put anything on his leg or anything like that. It's like, no, it just limps around. Like, how long has that's been happening for? It's like 4 days, 5 days. The dog fell off the bed and just kind of like fractured his leg or something. I don't know. It looked like it fractured its leg. But then and so the dog was sleeping, and I said, do I have permission to work with your dog? And she said, yeah. Okay, great. So then I said, I connected with the dog, and I like asked for some help for 10 seconds. And then I said the name, and it muscle tested that name. And I said, okay, great. So do you have physical trauma from that fall that you had? And that's in the body code stuff. So it's a little more complicated. The body said yes. I'm like, so I released it. And I said, do you have inflammation energy from that fall? The body said yes. I'm like, do you have any trapped emotions that came from that fall that you felt post the fall? And there was worry, anxiousness, nervousness, whatever. So I released all 4 of them. And then I just said, okay, is there anything else that's maybe causing issues with your leg? Body's like, no. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm done. My name's Emmanuel. Okay, so then I'm done. I just sat there, and it was still sleeping. It got up and literally was just walking normally. And the whole party just looked at the ground going like, oh my gosh, what happened to his leg? He like works perfectly. Just proof that, again, it can't be placebo effect, because I don't speak dog, obviously. So,
Well, apparently you do, Emmanuel. You speak. What do you speak?
yeah.
Love and help.
Yeah, so
Right?
it's a beautiful thing that I love the fact you can work long distance with animals, long distance with children, long distance with people, and it's just it's a beautiful thing, that there's no distance to like healing someone. They could be in the other side of the world. I work with an autistic child in Thailand and seen amazing results with that child, and it's just I just really think that's what healing's all about, is just sharing love, with people, so.
Listen, firstly, can we just stop and give an epic heart bomb to this man? What a gem. I mean, for goodness sake, it's ridiculous. The amount of love and energy in you is epic, profound, incredible. Thank you for you. Quite aside from, you see vets, You see
Oh,
veterans.
veterans, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Our practice has a veterans program, where that if you're a veteran and you've been diagnosed with PTSD, there's 22 suicides a day in America, which is
That we know of.
yeah, that we know of, right? Exactly. That's counted, right? But there could be way more. And I went to military school for 3 years, and a lot of the people that were taught me were veterans. It was called Army and Navy Academy in Carlsbad, California, and I checked up on one of them just to see how they were doing, and he wasn't doing well at all. And he lost his job. Him and his wife broke up. He says he had PTSD, all these different things, and it just really hurt me. Like, it really hurt my heart, because I'm like, my hero is falling apart, And so then that made it very real for me. Then I heard Dr. Brad say that he actually had a Save a Soldier campaign where he sent over 100,000 emotion code books to Iraqi soldiers when they went to Iraq, because he knew in his mind that a certain percentage will come back with PTSD, and if he can get them to read the book, they can heal themselves. So it was like Dr. Brad and I were kind of in the same frequency. We're like, we got to help these people that serve our country, preserve our freedoms, but then come back in absolute turmoil, and they can't handle a job, they can't handle themselves, and it's almost like every day is a day where, like, should I live or should I not live? I mean, that's not fair, And so what I do is I give 12 sessions to PTSD veterans at no cost at all, and that's my way of giving back to the military. So what's interesting is I could help that veteran just with 6 sessions to remove their heart wall, but I don't believe in just bringing that veteran out of the mud. I believe that he deserves to thrive like every other citizen. So I do 6 more sessions to be like, what weaknesses do you have? Do you have lack of abundance in your life? Are you having issues being open to love again with relationships? And I get him back to even like a better civilian than he would have been not meeting me at all. So that's kind of like my goal. So I give him like literally almost $1,200 worth of sessions to the veteran to help them out to get out. We've helped over 12 of them, and the testimonies that have come back are amazing. I mean, literally all 12 of them have no PTSD at all after this work. So
that's veterans, men and women.
Yeah, veteran. Yeah, the men and women.
Because
Yeah, that's our goal is to work with about 2 of them a month. 2 of them a month is like kind of like what I make myself available to. And then sometimes we have months where I do a special promotion where I say, I'm looking for a mother who's on welfare, and I want to clear your heart wall this month, and that's my way of giving back. And then some people post, they start tagging their friends, and I'll just choose one, and then that's my way of just giving back to someone who couldn't afford my sessions, but that's not fair that they can't afford it. So that's why I want to go and reach someone that would never think that someone would just reach out there and just help them out to find direction in life, So, yeah.
You're a phenomenon.
Yeah, so just, there's just a lot of people hurting out there. So people always ask me, like, hey, you work with about, 15, 16 people a day, but it's like I feel like I'm behind. And there's just too many people. There's a lot of people hurting out there, and it's just like I can't get to them fast enough. I just really can't. So I have no time to be like, oh, I'm tired. That's for the birds. So I have to just get out there and help as many people as I can. But hopefully, like, we've inspired, I think, over 46 people in 2 years to become practitioners. So the word's getting out there. There's people that I say, hey, you changed my life. I want to return the favor and go out there. And so that's been kind of a beautiful gift to see, for sure. So.
And it's I mean, I looked into it for myself to do body code and emotion code as a practitioner. We're talking, a huge amount of support. It's affordable. Mm-hmm. 6 months to a year mm-hmm. to practice in this work and get supported by a huge community of people actually really skillful, right?
Yeah, I think
get eyes on you to study.
I know it sounds kind of funny, but there are 19-year-olds that are getting certified in like Istanbul. Like, what I'm saying? Like as long as you become proficient in muscle testing, there is a young person out there that doesn't even have a high school degree. And that's what Dr. Brad was like. He really feels like the emotion code body code is just a gateway for you to realize that everyone's really a healer, everyone I walk by in the streets, they don't know it, but they're sons and daughters of a great healer, and so it's in you already, but the emotion code body code kind of wakes that up. That's all it does. That's how I see it. And so it should be that, like, it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are. The system is so easy. Where you just is it the left side, right side, the way is it column A, column B. He made it so simple that you don't have to go to 8 years of study to be able to help someone. You can just have, and I think the quickest person who got certified was about 2.5 weeks. For me, it took me about 3 weeks. I had to work with about 36 people and 4 animals. So, however long it takes you, they give you about, you're right, they give you about 6 months to do it. But you can do it in 3 months. And once you kind of get muscle testing down, the body code's
Wow.
pretty simple.
This is just phenomenal. So a couple of things. One is share the video, folks. Come on. This is world-changing, saving stuff. Look at what he's doing. Look at what we're doing. Please share the video, for goodness sake. This could be, somebody could see this and suddenly, wow, breakthrough, extraordinary stuff. I'm really mindful there's people asking questions. Can we go into that?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Do we have time? I didn't check with you about time.
It's okay. Yeah, we got time. Let's do it. Yeah.
So, one session. What can be done in one session? Is it worth it?
In one session, I give usually people a complimentary hour session. Usually it's to get to know the person first. There's a lot of practitioners out there that take, just 30 minutes, but I really feel like getting to know my client and then client knowing me, I think is very, very important. So I take the extra 30 minutes that most practitioners don't give in introductory sessions because I want to get to know the person and see if we resonate together, Yeah. And, I've always had a saying where it says, like, if you pray that you're not supposed to work with me, like, listen to the prayer, like, ignore me, but basically I help them out with one area of pain, like physical pain. And then I ask them, what's one goal that you want to fulfill this year? And one of them might be like, I don't want to have anxiety anymore. So there's a beautiful thing called the body code alignment session. I think you guys might really appreciate this. So again, if you have your pencil, this for me is one of the most groundbreaking things outside of the heart wall, is that your body has your body can also do percentages to certain statements that you make. So Dr. Brad said that everything that's wrong with your life is just an energetic misalignment. And I remember listening to that for the first time in conference. I'm like, everything that's wrong with your life is just an energetic misalignment. And then he started mentioning things going like, do you have problems speaking in public forums? Do you have problem opening your heart again to love? Do you want to learn a language in 3 weeks instead of 3 months? Do you still have trauma from your friend passing away? Do you have peace with that yet? For example, let's say you did have a friend who passed away and you're like, that haunts me. I can muscle test you and say, I have complete peace with my friend Aaron who passed away in a car accident. I could be like, how energetically aligned are you with that statement? And I can muscle test and be like, is it 90%, 80%, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30? Oh, look, you're at 23%. 23 point what? 23.9. 23.9 what? 97. Your body to the decimal point knows exactly how much peace you have with that statement, like a congruency. Then I go into the body code, dive in there over 200 hyperlinks, and I start removing the certain energies that moves that percentage to the right. And the more we move to the right, which could be psychic traumas, all these different energies that are in the body code, there's way more energies outside besides just trapped emotions. You start going to the 100%. I've seen people go back to journals and go like, I'm not affected the way I used to get affected. I actually do have peace with this. Or I just broke up 25 years of marriage and I'm finally dating again. It's just energies holding them back. And so that's my profession. I love when I first meet with someone, I'll do one body code alignment statement. Let's say I'm completely anxiety free. Let's measure that. And sometimes I even measure hey, look, if we cleared your heart wall, where does your percentage go? And your body will project it. Be like, you're actually at 84% free of anxiety if we just cleared your heart wall. So then what's that other small gap there? That's probably a body code session away. And so I remove one thing to help them see what it looks like when you move the percentage to the right. So really I just do two things. I remove a pain, and then I do a body code alignment session. I just move one thing to move the percentage a little bit. So that way they can see what it looks like after I clear their heart wall. So
how do you do this work at this pace? You're a machine. How are you keeping buoyant? How are you energized to do 15 clients a day and energy work? That's epic.
Yeah, lots of vitamins, multivitamins, and then also exercising, prayer, and that's really it. I mean, it's really the simple things, really. It's like if you really look back at like what really upholds someone, it's like the little simple things that don't mean much to you, like don't really mean much at the moment, but over time, it's the compounding effect that shows up. And yeah, just so that's very important. I think also, I've confirmed to myself, well, my heart has when it cleared its wall, that this is my mission in life, and so I'm able to run on fumes because it's my mission. It's like a lot of people. I want to just say this real quick. The word passion, for example. When people hear that word, people think that they have to be jacked, excited all the time. This is my passion. Like I'm having the best time. But passion actually is it comes from sacred suffering. That's the root of it. And the question I ask people, if it's really their passion, is what are you willing to suffer for? That's usually your passion. And so me, for example, if the government told me that I would have to live in a box and eat sandwiches, but I would work with 15 people a day, but at least my family would be taken care of, but I would live in a box and eat sandwiches, I would say I'd do it. I'm willing to suffer because that's my passion. But most people wouldn't. Most people who are listening to this, if their job didn't pay them a salary, they wouldn't show up to their job, which is a good key indicator that it's not their passion. You see, but I'm willing to like not take a check because I would do it for free. You see, and so but yeah, it's sacred suffering. So I think that's another thing that makes me want to meet with a lot of people a day, is just that it's when it's your passion, you don't think about the numbers anymore, so.
Profound. I mean, wow. How many sessions does it take to clear a heart wall is a question we've got.
Yeah, so usually it takes about, sometimes it takes 3 to 4 sessions. If you've had a lot of trauma in your life, sometimes it takes, 5 to 6 sessions. What I usually do is we have like a 6-session package with our practice to make sure we clear it all. And then if for some reason you clear it in 5, then the 6th one, I usually do a body code alignment session. I'll be like, hey, what area of your life do you feel stuck? They'll be like, oh, money. Well, let's ask the beautiful question of, are you open to making money, or do you feel safe making money? And guess what most people's body says? Nope, sorry.
No.
Yeah, no. And then they're like, well, why is it no? I'm like, my body says yes, Well, or my mind says yes, my body's saying no. Well, it's because if you knew all the trauma that your body is containing with money, with regards to your father, the way he lost it, the way when you had it, your friend borrowed it, never gave it back to you, or the last time you got a job, you got stolen or broken into, trust me, your body's like, no, money's only giving you problems. So the subconscious is like, I'm keeping you safe if you don't do money. So I have to keep releasing certain things, and then all of a sudden now the body's like, okay, now I'm open. And so that's something that I work on is just asking people, if for some reason there's an extra session, I work on one goal to help them out and move the percentage.
Incredible. Lots of people now were asking, can you train in this? Can you train in muscle testing? Can you train in emotion code, body code? Yes is the answers. And I guess where would you, I mean, I've posted on all the videos from today and this video, it's in the chat here, and I'll put it above once we're off the live. His 15-minute heart wall YouTube video is profound. I mean, he's a heavy duty guy on YouTube, but the YouTubers love you. It's a brilliant video of you describing the process. But you think, would you send people to the Emotion Code book, or where would you suggest people go to?
So there's a couple of things. First of all,
please keep talking. We're talking about animals, and my dog's got a problem, so I have to attend to him. Keep talking. I'm just here.
Yeah, no. If you're really interested, a lot of people think that in order for me to get a very good healing, that I need to know everything about the Emotion Code. I suggest people to buy the Emotion Code book for sure. You can get it on Amazon. You can get also an emotion app, which is it's an emotion app, and then you'll see like a little heart with like a little circle around it. I think it's like $2. The whole book is actually in that app, and you can listen to audio. And I think it's Dr. Brad recorded his whole voice for the whole book, and there's all the charts in there. And it was actually made to like train yourself. Kind of like you can like actually like it gives you the whole chart. There's nothing. Dr. Brad said that if the end of time showed up and the book showed up in a little plastic little Ziploc bag, and somebody from like Zimbabwe picked it up, like he should be able, even just with his hands, and if he read the book, he could heal his whole tribe. Like that's how simple he made everything. And so there are people that have never taken the certification course, but are actually very good at doing the emotion code just because they kept practicing and practicing and practicing, just using the knowledge from the book. So the book is directional in many ways, like it's instructional, and it does tell you how to do it. So the certification is more of like if you want to create a practice and you want to work with people all over the world, and you want to make it official and be certified. That one, if you are doing that, I don't know if someone can write down there my email address. We actually, Coding Alternative Art Practice is an affiliate with Discover Healing. So you would email me at codingalternative@gmail.com. So if you're interested in becoming certified, just email me, say, hey, I saw your video, I'm interested in becoming certified. I can send you a link that actually gives credit to our practice. So that's just something to throw out there. But I highly recommend it. A lot of people that I work with, they read the Emotion Code book while they're getting the healing done. I mean, think about it. When you went to when you went to go get your favorite car at a car place, you didn't read the whole manual. You just kind of went in there like, leather smells good, drives good. You know, you don't read the whole manual. It's kind of weird. So it's not really necessary to learn the whole emotion code before getting healed. Is what I'm trying to say.
And question: can an old heart wall come back after clearing?
Yeah, it can. And so I usually give this thing called a shield. I know. I'm sorry, but it's just, I'll tell you this in more real life terms. I cleared my heart wall back in April 2016. And I found my mission in May. Like in May, it was very, very clear to me that I was supposed to be a practitioner. It was almost like, I can't even explain it. It's almost this like insomnia became my best friend. And I stayed up like watching webinars really late at night. And, my wife would like knock on my thing and I'd be like, what? It's like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, like go to bed, and I'm like, no, but I'm learning about this thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Where has the time gone? Like, so something happened to me when my friend cleared my heart wall. And I found my mission in life. It was like time stopped for me. And I started realizing like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And what's interesting is that, sorry, can you refer to that question that you just said again? I totally just lost track about something.
Yes, can the heart wall return?
Okay, yeah, so I cleared my heart wall in April 2016, and I had a friend of mine that unfortunately passed away, a family friend, and he was on life support, literally just like 2 days later, life support, 2 days later, passed away. It was like really tragic. And what happened was I was trying to ask the family if I can work on him and use the body code on him. And they all were kind of like, doing the X thing and like kind of, like, oh, what are you doing? Some type of witchcraft. And I was like, no, I just want to help him out. And I was trying to defend the emotion code with these 3 people who were being very judgmental of me. And I just ran to my car and I just asked myself, I'm like, do I have a heart wall again? I'm like, oh no, I have one. And it was because it was such a heartache for me to like feel so helpless that I couldn't help out my friend. And I built, I think, 2 heart walls that day. And so I released it obviously because I know how to release it on myself. But yeah, if you have trauma, like something heavy happens to you, you got fired from your job, whatever, you can release it. But you can always ask your practitioner, hey, did I get a heart wall? I had a really, really bad night with my wife and blah, blah, blah. Did I get one? And you can test it to see if you have it or not. Or you can sway yourself if you want to see if you got it. But it's not as, I guess, it's not as easy to get another heart wall again. It's not like you get like old ones back. Yeah. It's like they're new ones that have come because of heart trauma.
Well, the stacked ones, the ones that are stacked, like with emotion, we stack emotion when we don't address something. Mm-hmm. So, if you frown at me now and I've felt that people have judged me my whole life, I'm going to be primed and ready to be triggered by that because it's stacked, right? Yeah. So I'm guessing that the heart walls that come through being human are easier to clear, less painful, less dangerous, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, we did a heart wall session for you today. There's some that, like, for example, were 19 years old, like that will never show up again because that was a certain period of your life and you covered your heart at that time. But that 19 one that we dropped off, it's not going to show up again.
And I'm interested, somebody wrote, people who've seen it, please watch my live session from today. People have really commented there about, lots of different things. But equally, I'd be really fascinated to speak to my mum. I wonder if she's on to see how she is, because you're looking transgenerationally at the energy that from this session. And this is often what you're saying. And I totally believe it. I've watched a lot of stuff about this since I've come across you and Dr. Brad about releasing energy and frustration and resentment within other members of the family, siblings, and so on. And
Yeah,
just phenomenal.
yeah, I know this is very inspired work because Dr. Brad would go up on stage and he would say, all right, you have an inherited emotion, and then he would start pushing their arm like, where does this go? Is this your father? But I said, no, is this from your mother? So, and it's in the Scientific American 2015, they talk about, Jewish Holocaust victims that their great 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 grandkids would have depression, anxiety, but there's nothing in their life that would promote that. Nothing. So that's kind of like a study that they did that's like, why are these children heavy depressed and heavy anxiety? Because these energies have been passed down from these Holocaust people that went through the Holocaust. Obviously, I made a whole video on like, there's a new Childish Gambino music video that went viral about "This Is America," and he starts, he uses a gun and shoots someone, and then starts rapping, and like how like we're all distracted by by the media, but we're like becoming numb in some ways in America with like the whole gun issue, everything like that. And I tell people, I'm like, racism, for example, if you have bitterness and anger from a great 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 slave, an African American slave, that can get passed on all the way to you, and that's why that African American child is just like has easy to fall into resentment and easy into anger, and even maybe towards other races, because he's like someone way up there passed it down all the way down to them. So one of the reasons why our world's suffering right now is because we're all under the curse of like a lot of inherited emotions that have passed on all the way from, I released somebody from today that was like 352 BC, like way back there. Like we're talking, yeah, it's like, there's sometimes 85 generations that goes back there all the way down, and it'll be like low self-esteem, and she'll be like, I always question myself ever since I was young. I never knew why. And it's like, well, 85 generations of low self-esteem will do it for you. You see? And,
Yeah.
then what's interesting is every time I tell their kid, like their child, I'll be like, how many kids do you have? 4 kids? Let me tell you which one who has the inherent low self-esteem. Always happens. The mother already knows who's the child that questions themselves. I always get it right. I'm like, it's this one and this one. The other 2 don't have it. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying how much they question themselves. I'm like, that's because it's 86 generations on that one. You see? So I know, and then all of a sudden when we clear it, the child starts improving and starts like, higher confidence, better grades. And so the mom sees it. And then that's kind of like why I work on kids a lot. Like I love working.
Oh gosh, what's happened? Come back.
Are you there?
Visualize him coming back. Yes.
Hi.
You're back.
Sorry about that. That was a phone call.
Oh no. Visualize him coming back. We need this, folks. Please be sharing the video. It's so profound.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
You there?
Yes.
Sorry, that was a phone call there. Can you see me? Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the child would improve, and relationships between mother and daughter would improve, and also the mother as well. I've worked with sometimes a woman, and I release an inherited emotion that their mother was affected, and it's interesting. The next day, the mother was set up for an appointment with me, and I work with them, and then they would be kind of like a little bit out of sorts, and I said. Oh, did you know that I worked with your daughter? She says, oh yeah, no, I know. And I'm like, how did you know? He's like, because you worked with her around 3 o'clock or something, right? He's like, why? And I said, yeah, actually, it was around 3. She says, I know, because while I was driving, she's like, I never get tired in the afternoon, ever. And for some reason, I was driving, I had my salad there, and I was ready to go home, and all of a sudden, just boom, this big wave of tiredness fell in. And she's like, I've never taken a nap in the afternoon for the longest time. I had to go home and officially just take a nap because I was so exhausted. Wow. We released an inherited emotion from that daughter, and her mother was affected. She was in the way of that inherited emotion. So she started processing from that emotion. It's really powerful. Yeah. So the mom knew. The mom was like, yeah, I know you worked on my daughter because I took a nap, which I never take a nap in the afternoon. And later on, she told me that it was because I was processing. So it's really interesting. So.
Wow. I want to speak. Is my mum, are you here? She might be. I would be fascinated. This woman is psychic as hell. So I can't wait to, she called me once. I was in trouble. Something was going on. She called me and she said, what's up? And I'm like, Mom. She knew. She's like so on it. So I can't wait. I'm going to record the call to see what's happened. Incredible. I'm so grateful that you're with us doing this stuff. Truly. You're a gem of a man. I wish for you just abundance of everything good, because you're something else, really. It's shockingly beautiful what you're doing and how you are. I mean, isn't he incredible? What a guy. I love you. You're fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, your mom's there, Marcia.
Oh, she is?
Marcia Karp.
How did you know that?
Because
Mom, how are you feeling?
Because she said, "I'm here."
Did you have anything happen for you today? Say, I'd love to speak to you at some juncture soon. It'll be fascinating to see. Say. So it would be great to do a three-way here, because I bet there'll be a story of something that's gone on. And the thing is with this, you know, for those who think it's woo-woo or witchy or, you know, placebo, or what even if it is, the reality of it is, I mean, I don't think that for a moment, but even if it was, we're in a lot of trouble in our culture, obviously. And if someone's going to shift something, that suddenly a mother's able to hold a child that normally is like, "Mummy, not you," you know, that kind of distancing, the separation that we do, you know, we could get over ourselves and try it anyway. Because I so often know people who are really suffering, but they won't try something because it's, you know, whatever, when we can benefit from, we don't have to understand everything. It's kind of like this. I couldn't tell you how we're actually live on Facebook and how all the technology works, but I believe in it and I'm doing it, you know. Incredible. So
yeah, and just let you guys know, if there's anybody that's skeptical, it would be my father, who's an oncologist, and he's anti-holistic health. Okay, he's he's been him and my mother used to fight all the time. She was big proponent of Eastern Western medicine combined. My father was anti-holistic medicine, and it's interesting that a year and a half into me working, and he started noticing that I'm meeting with about 100 clients a week. He said, "What's going on over here? You know, what is this emotion code work that's happening here?" And then I said, "Hey, Dad, you know, do you have any back pain or do you have any neck pain?" He said, "Yeah, I do." And I started working on him, and he allowed me to work on him. I thought I would never be able to work on my dad because he's a very hard-headed individual, and he's very by-the-book oncologist. Like, you know, it's chemo. My father's just like that. You know, he's been doing that for 30 years. He's like 71 years old, you know. And now I worked with him. I said, "Can I work on?" Very heady, very smart, super intelligent guy. I worked on his neck and I worked on his shoulders. And he told me, he's like, "What's really fascinating, Manuel, is that you know nothing about my childhood or my teens, but I am very aware of what emotion I felt at that age, and you nailed it spot on." And he's like, "That's really interesting." And then he says, "And also, I'll be very real with you, if my back pain goes away." And it slowly dissipated. And he's like, "This is real." And then he went into the emotion code book and he read on the 6th page, he's like, "Quantum physics, huh? Quantum healing." He said, "The only reason why I decided to finish this book is because I saw quantum physics." And he says, "If anything were to replace Western medicine or enhance Western medicine, it'd have to be something in quantum physics, quantum energy healing, quantum, because he believes that could be the future." And then he went in, he didn't even stop there. He read the whole body code encyclopedia. It's a thick old thing. It's boring as all heck. He read through the whole thing. This is a doctor looking at it. And he was looking at the prostate. He's like, what emotions are connected to the prostate? And he was looking at what muscles are connected. And he told me, he says, "I don't know how to say this, but the doctor you're working with is highly inspired." And that was from a doctor who's 30 years oncology practice, has no biasness to tell me that, you know, like, you know, I'm your father, so I should be nice to you. Yes, this is great work. He actually came very negative, and he came out a believer because I worked on him. I worked on his heart wall. He said, "I've never been more present with my children my whole entire life until you cleared my heart wall." That's real stuff from my dad, you know. And so yeah, so that's the thing is, you have to experience a free session and then you'll know it's real. I think that's the best way. If you can lower down the pain and I can show you emotions and ages that resonate with you, it's undeniable that your body is, I mean, are we going to really deny that your subconscious is unintelligent? That in the span of what, the 30 minutes that we're here, how many trillions of things happened in your system subconsciously. Your mind didn't even think about it, but like the cells went all the right places, the glands were growing, muscles were stretching. I mean, thousands of things were happening behind our back, but we're going to question if we can ask it questions and if it can remember something. I mean, it's preposterous in some ways, you know? So.
Everybody's like, I love him. How do we get a session? So inspired.
Yeah, you can look up our practice, Coding Alternative. So look up on Facebook, Coding Alternative, and just you can inbox me and just say, hey, you know, I saw you. I would love to book a free session. And I'm making some changes in my calendar right now. So whoever messages me there, I'll get you in sooner. Because right now, if you look at my calendar, it says I'm booked till July 15, but I'm working some things in my calendar. I'll fit you in earlier, and we can do a complimentary session. So
they can message you how
on Facebook. If you go just like go on Coding Alternative and just put like send message. You can send a message to the practice, and then I'll reach out to you sometime tonight, and we can set up a complimentary session. Okay,
and I'll put that above. Once we're off the live, I couldn't put the link on there. Oh, and Donna's done it. Bless you. We've had so much support. We're talking. People are putting the things in. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking to get certified too, that's the email you want to send it to. Or if you have any questions, you can email me there too. So.
What can we do for you? You're just such a gem of a man. What can we do for you? Offer you?
I think the greatest thing we can do right now is. You there? Did I lose you?
That's fascinating. The greatest thing we could do right now is what I heard, and then this is fascinating to me.
Hi, you there?
I'm here. We're back.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's actually that's one of the funniest things I've done is, you know, like don't you love it when you're on the phone and you say the secret to life is, and then the phone just like, you know, that's exactly what just happened. It's so funny. I always make fun of that. Anyway, so the best thing we can do is we need to share this with people, share this video out there as much as possible. Because the reality is that there are people either hurting or there are people in denial that they are hurting, and they just don't know what they don't know. If they only knew that they really need to take into consideration that we are emotional, energetic beings, then life could be very, very, very different. And it's like you don't have to play a victim anymore. You can actually like take responsibility and be like, I just need healing. I'm just overdue for healing. And like I said, I don't care if you go to me as a practitioner. I don't care if you go to someone else. This isn't a sales pitch to come to me. This is a sales pitch for you to like realize that you have the ability to heal yourself, and that you're actually even a healer yourself. And to read the Emotion Code book, I think it's very important. If you're really interested in what I'm talking about, I give all credit to Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's almost like a father figure to me. I'm like best friends with him. You know, he flew me on an airplane to Arizona to meet with Native American Indians suffering from addictions, and he was releasing ancestral trauma from them. I mean, this guy is way ahead of his time. And we're talking like in the next 20, 25 years, hopefully, you know, nothing happens to him. He will be known as one of the greatest minds of medicine. He'll be one of the greatest minds of medicine. And I just know that I don't have to wait 25 years to acknowledge that. I know that he's that visionary right now. And there's another book coming out. And I'll just tell you about it real quick. Actually, yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if I get in trouble. But anyway, he's going to be releasing a new book called Healing the Dead, and it's going to be very groundbreaking because of the fact that he's had too many testimonials of people that have the discernment of spirits, and whenever he's working with people on stage, what shows up on stage is going to blow your mind, and how much we're interacting and dropping pools, like dropping like how to say, stones in a pond in the other veil on the other side is astronomical. I'm talking like I've worked with someone before where I released maybe 7 to 8 ancestral inherited emotions, and then I asked how many people were affected technically on the other side. I mean, we're talking like 936, 1,000, because the tree just kind of breaks out. You know, it's like it's not. just breaks out and they have their daughters and their daughters, so it's more than just 36 generations. There's thousands of people on the other side that are getting relief from these emotions. I mean, you're really creating a dent for your family. And so he's going to write a book, and he said that I've been prompted to write a book like this. I'm not scared to release a book like this, and he really believes it's going to be groundbreaking. Good. That it's going to come out.
Let's give him some support too, big time. What can we do? Go on his page,
go on his page, like his page. I would order the book. Dr. Bradley Nelson, and it's called Discover Healing, or Healer's Library is where like his department is called Discover Healing or Healer's Library, and you should get his book. Get the Emotion Code book. That would really give some support. And then just let people know that this exists by passing out videos to friends. What's beautiful about the heart wall and the emotion code is that, if you say the word heart wall, it really rings people's subconscious. You don't know how many times I've sent that video to someone and someone says, I feel like I have a wall around my heart. You see, so you don't have to convince anybody of this. As soon as they hear the word trapped emotions or heart walls, it rings their subconscious like crazy. And their subconscious is like, yeah. I know that word. Not only do I know that word, I have what they're talking about. You see? So all we have to do is just get the word out there and send these videos out and just let people become more aware of it. And then you'll be changing their generational line above and also generational line below.
100 years, 1818, you cleared this heart wall for me today, right? 100 years of, and we all know I can do with every help from anybody good, the help. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Yes. Now, I bet this is going to be on somebody's mind, is whether or not Coding Alternative takes donations. Because I imagine people are going to see you and go, I'd like to donate so that you get some, so you can keep, to support you to keep doing that. Can they just email about that if people want to support you? Sure.
If they want to do that, they can, that same email that someone wrote down there, Coding Alternative. If you want to donate, you can send that. That's our PayPal email. You can send that and then just write donation to the thing. I know a sweet lady that I worked with, and it's kind of funny. She says, like, I would like to tithe to something that has improved my spirituality, and she actually tithed to our practice. Because and so
what?
Huh?
She tithed,
people like tithe to churches, like 10%, they tithe. So it's like in her mind, she just thought, like, I want to give back money or some type of resource to something that has added to my spiritual growth.
Exactly.
And it was a very beautiful gesture. Had anyone do that?
Yes. Beautiful. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind for all of us. He's gone again.
So many people messaging me. Oh man, it's crazy.
Well, thank you. And can we do another session and do it live again so people can share it and see what's going on like they did today? It's live. If you guys want to see, it's on the page. Look how in demand he is. Look.
I'm back.
You'll be up for it. We'll do another session live. Are
yes.
you up for that?
I'm up for that.
Yeah. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Thank you. You're a diamond, man. Big star. You're going to be top of my, list of gratitude for the rest of my life. I'm so grateful.
Well, birds of a feather flock together, so I'm pretty sure you know that. And I always love your energy on Facebook Lives. And so just keep doing what you're doing. I know you're serving a lot of people, and I can tell by all the comments below on your Facebook that there's a lot of people that appreciate your words. And so just keep doing what you're doing. I know you're adding a lot of light to the world. And so just, I'm just glad to be a part of this group of circle that you have, that you're developing. And so anything that I can do to help out your mission as well, I'd love to help out. So
bless your heart. And likewise, let's show them some support. These are just beautiful people, so wealthy, all of us. So thank you for your time so much. And we'll look forward to seeing each other again.
Yes,
get in
definitely.
touch and make it happen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to it. So thank you so much again for having me. Appreciate it.
Big love. You're amazing. Thank you for you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Isn't he great? Love him. So happy summer.